When you look at the chart, your ultimate goal is to hit your target. And what do we expect when we have a target? It's usually a resistance, and that's what we're talking about today. The S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100, we zoom out really quickly. We go to about the 1 day time frame. We had some big earnings yesterday we need to talk about as well, but ultimately we went to that 1608, 1609 here on the Nasdaq. You hit that almost to the tick, a little bit higher, and you're getting rejected so far from there. Giving you a visual of some past levels similar to this level right about there. 15.7 was also important. We went right through it. You can see what happened back here. Just giving you a quick visual. We hit this level, went above it. Everyone said it was over. We pushed back down. We bounced, right? So I just want to say this right now before we jump too far in. So far, we are still in said trend. Nevertheless, this was the biggest downside day of 2023. We can highlight that. I don't mind that visual, whatever. But I just want to say right now, if you look at how we've moved, we've gone from, I mean, you've come a long way. We've gone from 12.6, April 24th to 16,000 on Nasdaq, almost 4,000 points in a matter of two and a half months. Just saying. ES today, much less of a pull down, still above basically all the big levels we mentioned. You can zoom out that 15.5 or 45.5 level we've been watching and talking about. We hit the big level of 46 roughly, and we knew that was a big level as well. So these are still above major resistances. That being said, the Dow, amazing day, easily pushing into highs. Now, I have an opinion on this, and I have an area where I'm going to start buying. So you need to be paying attention pretty closely. Before we get into that, to ask you to do two things. Consider liking, consider subscribing. Again, only if you get value out of this channel. If you don't like the channel, it's okay. No harm, no foul. Maybe just not for you. But we post videos every single day, Monday through Friday. Also, if you're interested, the Discord link is down below. If you're a new trader, I don't recommend joining Discord, though. I'm going to tell you that right now. You can see the pros and cons here. If you're a new trader, go to our website, go to home. This is where you're going to go. You're going to hover over education. This is our free lessons. All this is absolutely free to get you started on trading so you can understand what we're looking at. So we're not selling you anything. It has videos, so you can also get ready on this as well. Check it out. Now, today we had some pretty interesting behavior. I'm going to give you exactly what you want to see first. This is where I'm looking to buy. Okay, so this is our previous highs that we had established at 15,475. Roughly, that's where we're looking for us to hopefully get to. Right, that's the best entry opportunity in my opinion. Now, does that mean that you couldn't drop below that? No. Does that mean that you have to bounce there? You do not have to bounce there. I want to make this really clear, right? And we're specifically looking at Nasdaq because that's been the overall leader in the market over the past 6-7 months. Okay, so 15.47 roughly the bottom of this trend, and it's the previous high here. Now, what's been the going theme over the past few days and weeks? We have highs, we retest, we push back, and just trends. This is just an overall perfect setup that could have played out. ES, though, I want to say this. We look at what's happening on the market, and near the end of the day, we had more downside on some of the bigger names. But so far today, the biggest thing that held us down was TSM's earnings, and they did have a few things to say about the expectations of AI and what's happening with semiconductors. Okay, I do want to address. I don't want to be biased and only point out things that I like in the market. So when we look at this, I personally believe that we need to see NVIDIA's, AMD's, AVGO, Broadcom. We need to see those earnings before you jump to conclusions. TSM hasn't had monster earnings like these other companies. TSM does supply materials to these said companies, but so does LRCX and a few others. So I think it's important that you don't just jump the gun and just hammer puts, but you can do whatever you want, make your own decision. I am not a financial advisor. Whatever you want to do. Everyone's been trying to short NVIDIA, AMD, and these semiconductors, and it hasn't really worked out. But I will say is NVIDIA is still clearly trending at highs. You're still above previous 52-week highs. You're making much better higher lows here. I mean, you're still very bullish. AVGO is obviously still in this ascending triangle, trying to break to the upside as well. So, again, you could have some downside here, but again, I am being patient here. I am not jumping the gun, especially with where NQ is at. Need to establish that first. With some bad news, but we need to see if it actually stays true here. Now, on top of that, when we look at the downside movement today, okay, so if anyone's calling for this to be a reversal, you can watch and go read our volume lesson that we have up here. My personal opinion, volume today, pretty lackluster. We can refresh that really quick to get updated. This, yeah, you're going to end here at 69.2 million. Very lackluster volume here today. Now, I'm not saying you have to have crazy volume. I'm not saying you have to, have outrageous, volatility. You don't have to have that. But I'm just saying, if this is the start of a reversal here, you expect to get better selling pressure, better selling volume. I can name, back in June 19th, June 18th, much better selling pressure, right? I'm just saying, you're not really getting a reversal type volume yet. We still have a lot of earnings to go. This is just the beginning, and people saying this is, setting the tone for tech. Maybe it is, possibly. But I still don't think Tesla earnings are bad. I think you move down based on free cash flow and what was happening with Tesla. If you look at the earnings that we had, analysts only came out with higher projections and higher targets. I'm just saying. Then we had new higher targets for NVIDIA coming out today. I believe AMD and AVGO. And then Apple, but that's not semiconductor. So understand what's happening out there, and then the way that big money is viewing these. You're going to have your own opinion, but again, this is just my viewpoint now. And I want to say right now, if I'm looking to look at the downside, what has to happen? We have to make a lower low. So for myself personally, I'm not looking to go short unless we start breaking below like 15,000, possibly even 14.8. There wouldn't be a logical reason for me to start changing my way of trading until that happens. I've been trading the upside trend here, and it's been working for me. Okay. Now, I also mentioned as we were going into 16,000, as ES was hitting 4,600, I was getting out of a lot of my plays, a lot of my positions. I was looking to get into some other opportunities, but I was definitely getting out, right? I wanted to really just slowly ease on out, right? AMD, remember we had all of them. Google, we had Netflix. Netflix was a loser. We had Home Depot, another winner. We had a lot of those plays that really worked in our favor. But it's times when you get to these really high levels, you have to start reducing your risk, right? And then when do we have opportunity? When do we make our money? When is one of the times that you give yourself the chance to make money is on dips like you're getting now, okay? You're not looking to just, you're never going to see me just hammering calls at highs. I'm never just like, oh, we're at highs, boys. All in, just buying it all. Tesla, 450s, buying them right now for next week. You're never going to see that happen from me. You're going to see me give you a plan, what I'm doing there, and overall the direction I'm looking to trade in the market. And so right now, I am looking heavily at a few names that I want to talk about here in a sec. Now, really quickly, we're going to bring up TradingView. Jay might murder me for bringing TradingView up, but really quick, we're just going to bring up the DXY and a few other things that are happening here to give you a better visual here. Because again, I got to talk both sides of the trade, not just what I want to look at, not just what looks good for me. Now, one thing I do and will mention is DXY. You do look bad, in my opinion. This was your descending triangle. It was pretty perfect. We broke down. We're getting the retest of that level around 101, 100.9 roughly. And that's where we're at. So I'm looking for a rejection into a push into the 200 SMA. That'd be a perfect trade there. What does this signify? If DXY is weak, it signifies risk on in the market, in my opinion, what I'd be looking for. You also saw today, we look at yields. We saw yields trending back up. I said this yesterday. We need to see yields continue to push down. We don't want any of these updates. We want none of these spikes. The inversion crept back up as well. Okay, so we need to see yields push down. We're not getting the push down yet. We need to see yields start to push further down. Gold also trended back to the downside. Another really interesting thing that we had here on gold, and it's more of a complex head and shoulders. It's not a traditional head and shoulders. I do want to say that right now. So you have your head, shoulder, shoulder, and you can see clearly coming out there. I posted it on Twitter. You can go check it out. But very interesting formation happening here on gold, especially that next week is going to be your FOMC or rate hike decision. So make sure you're paying attention to that as well. So we're at a very interesting, roadblock, if you will, right now. This is very, very interesting. I think you have to be very passive going into next week. I keep saying this, be patient, be passive. Just like when we were, chopping before, that was the theme. Be patient, be passive. It worked out. It paid off really big. All those names we were trading moved phenomenal. Amazon, the list will go on and on of all the names, cloud names. They went crazy. We made our money. It was very clear on what we were trading, right? So names I'm liking right now. Number one, Apple is probably my favorite name moving forward. I think this is just an absolute monster. I'm looking for around 192.4 to hold. This is going to be a crazy level. I think it has a lot of opportunity here also. going a little bit deeper, I mean, you're already in all-time high range, so I want to make that really clear. But what they're doing going into this next earnings, I anticipate them to destroy. And I think there is a lot of upside here. It's pretty interesting that you're seeing kind of my like going viewpoint on all these earnings is I think they have a lot of room for upside, like Meta, Amazon, now Apple. Apple GPT is going to be, in my opinion, a game changer. And I think that this could really step Apple's game up even further. And it's just another source of data for Apple. Pretty crazy, pretty awesome in my opinion. So I definitely think that downside moves here on Apple are just opportunity for longer term plays. Personally here, you do have a gap near 190. So again, I'm being patient here. I'm just watching right now. I had a trade today. I got stopped off for like a $500 loss, but still transparent as can be here. But I still want to play Apple. I'm looking for them for sure. And I think they're going to push to 200, if not higher in the near term. NVIDIA and semiconductors. So NVIDIA, you're still very high. Possibility that you get a retest of 440. This is what I'd be looking for. I want to see the reaction when you hit 440. I could see TSM affecting semiconductors a little bit further down based on what they said. So I want to see how we react to previous highs, all-time highs here on NVIDIA. AVGO still holding pretty strong at that 888 range. You had a really great bounce off that this morning, and you're still making the higher lows here. But it's getting tighter and tighter, so we definitely need to be watching and paying attention to this pretty closely. We don't want to just be jumping to any conclusions, but semiconductors are a very interesting spot here. Apple still over semiconductors. Next up is Tesla. Tesla had earnings, and you saw that nasty drop. I told you guys yesterday, Tesla in this 300 to 314 range is very tough. It's going to be a hard road to break it. Over 314, I think you move into all-time highs. Now, bringing up Tesla, personally, I think this is one of the best opportunities that we may get. Now, again, I don't think you're at a buying level right now, and I need more confirmation on the market. You have a little bit of support between 258 into 255, and then also coming down into the range of around 246 into 240 roughly. It's a big range down there. But those are the levels I will be watching here on Tesla. I'm looking at Tesla for 2025 positions because ultimately I think this is a longer-term play of what you're looking to happen with Tesla based on their earnings call. And I'm not even talking short-term plays at this point. These are just names I think that have crazy potential. Tesla, in my opinion, is based on their earnings, has unreal potential, and I think they're going to break 314 by the end of the year, and I think you have just a lot of room to run here. So if you're looking at longer names to add, I think Tesla is definitely giving an opportunity with this major drop here. Now, again, you have some gaps you could still fill here. I'm paying close attention. I'm not being crazy, but again, definitely interested where we're at here. Also, Amazon, not super interested right now. I continue to say this. Amazon is a buy as long as you're above the 200 SMA. But when you're below it, it is obviously not a buy. So you're below it, so it's definitely a resistance. If you get back over it, you love it. We're kind of just being patient into earnings. I'm not trying to get too crazy, get too aggressive there. So those are the main stocks I'm liking. I can go down a few others like Google, and they're just losing supports here. So Google, I'm just looking back down at lows like 116. But again, right now, those are the big names. I think Apple and Tesla have the best setups. I love Tesla with how it's moving after earnings. I haven't started a position, but I'm definitely getting close to doing so. It's mainly right now watching how indexes are going to respond. If we start to see buyers show up at this 15.47 range, then I'm looking to position long. All right, I'm not just going to blindly go, I'm like, oh, well, buyers should show up there. I'm waiting to see how they show up and then get into my position, right? We're reactive traders, supply and demand. We're watching the price action. We don't just hope and pray about price action. We have to wait to see how we react. Some people may not understand that. Some may. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, traders.